was abolished 150 years ago, and yet there are more people in slavery today than at any other time in our history.
In America. This is BHMM News Network. For today's special international report, we are going to talk about human trafficking. For the past several years, human trafficking has been a major problem around the world. On this news segment, we are mainly focusing on how it has affected parts of Asia. Now, let's hand it over to Milton Parr.
In North Korea, women face domestic abuse, lack of education, and lower status compared to men. Seeing these opportunities, human traffickers lie to these women about new opportunities in China. The dark truth is, North Koreans are sent into brothels to work as sex slaves. North Koreans in China are deported and receive a punishment in North Korea. The punishment is the same for men and women, except that women receive a forced abortion if necessary. North Koreans want to escape North Korea because they are seen as the bread makers, as they have to provide and feed for the families. This results from lack of education for the power of women. Domestic abuse is also rampant, as it is a social norm to make women more submissive to men. Former North Korean leader Kim Jong-il was strong against this higher status of women, saying, "Families will collapse if female birds chirp." Women are mostly trafficked. Mothers, daughters, sisters are sold away to remain nothing more than a sexual object.
1/3 of Laos' population lives in poverty. Many girls are desperate to earn money. This makes them a prime target for sex trafficking. Almost 90% of Lao trafficking victims are transported to Thailand. The majority of them are 12 to 18-year-old girls who are coerced into sex trade. Not enough is being done to assist these helpless victims. According to 2013 Global Slavery Index, Laos is ranked 30 out of 162 countries in modern slavery prevalence with an estimated 50,000 victims. Only 2,100 rescued Lao victims have been officially reported from Thailand since 2001, officials say. According to Malaivan, coordinator for Anti-Slavery International, said victims have many rights under the law but not always practiced. On the other hand, Laos has no anti-trafficking laws that cover all trafficking victims. The 2004 Law on Development and Protection of Women supports trafficked women and children but are ineffective. Now let's hand it to Hannah.
I will talk about what's happening in the southeast part of Asia, where the bustling country of Vietnam, home of 88.7 million or so people, has also started to become the home for sexual and labor exploitation. For these women and children, the word exploitation will never be equivalent to the word justice because they were abused and were forced to give their virginity at a very young age. This represents a catastrophic failure of human safety. According to humantrafficking.org, that as young as 3 years old and over are being forced out of the will and treated as sexual toys, being used over and over again by different kinds of men almost every day at every hour. Vietnamese women and children found to be subjected to forced prostitution are often misled by fraudulent labor opportunities and then sold to brothels on the borders of Cambodia, China, and Laos. People take advantage of their illiteracy and exploit them without their knowing. It is very sad how they look for jobs to become better, but then are blinded by false hope.
Humans are not an object. People are not a pet, furniture, or piece of entertainment, but a living thing with their own ideals, surpassing just being a plain object.
Everyone, China has been known for its food and the Great Wall of China, but do we really know what's happening behind these tourist-attracting facts? An estimated 600,000 workers migrate yearly overseas, many of whom are recruited by false promises of employment and later forced into prostitution or forced labor in different countries. These immigrants pay very high recruitment fee just to be put in the system of human trafficking. According to the Ministry of Public Security, people who are being trafficked had increased from 236 million in 2012 to about 50 to 60% this year, and women in ages 16 to 25 years old are the main targets. Authorities reported rescuing 10,385 women and 5,933 children from trafficking situations in 2010, including cases of kidnapping for illegal adoption. It is sad how this country uses its beauty as a mask to cover all the cruelty that's happening behind its wall. Now, to end this segment, let's hand it over to Milton, Bushra, and Hannah.
In America, I'm Bushra Ghaffar.
And I am Hannah Lino. Sex trafficking is a major problem in the world, but not much is being done to resolve it.
Due to the lack of education and employment in Asia, many people are targets for sex trafficking. The only hope of fixing this tragic problem is if the government takes a more aggressive role and fulfills their purpose by using their power as security nets for their people instead of always being in the sidelines.
The best hope for these victimized people are if various trafficking organizations such as the Women's Union, United Nations, and non-governmental organizations receive fair funding and protection. These organizations have beneficial influence because they can educate the public about recent human trafficking around the world.
The government should also pass and enact comprehensive anti-trafficking legislations, eliminate the practice of finding returning traffic victims, provide temporary shelters, increase efforts to combat internal trafficking, and make greater efforts to prosecute and convict corrupted public officials, which will stop the abuse straight from its source.
Likewise, the government should provide more schools so children can get educated and pursue a career when they're older. Children are the foundation of our culture.
Thanks to this, it will start a cycle of prevention, saving future generations from abuse. As my fellow citizens, we could also become the agent of change by donating funds or needed items. Moreover, we could organize fundraisers and donate the money raised to anti-trafficking organizations.
By doing everything possible to prevent human trafficking and protecting trafficked victims, we can start a movement of change that would decrease poverty, violence, family problems, and financial difficulties. We are the only beings that could save us from our own destruction, so why not save ourselves and start now?
No one can do everything, but everyone can do something. Take action now.